or there's something nefarious afoot. Like, the best example I can think of is Michael Burry shorting the housing market in 2008, making tons of money, while a lot of people lost money. In that case, he made an informed bet. But you can also think of other times, like when somebody scams a bunch of people, they make money while everyone else loses money. And my favorite example of that might be Safe Moon, where people were told, oh, you're going to go safely to the moon with this investment. In reality, all those people lost money while executives sold and made millions of dollars. And the question is, which one is this? This is a chart from Reuters, who calculated that investors have lost about $2.28 billion. That's on the crypto projects of the president, to be clear, while the president has made about $2.29 billion up to the current day. And I know that's pretty shocking, and, even I kind of am a little skeptical when I see calculations, where are these numbers from, who's providing these numbers. So that's why I was really happy to see that the new financial disclosure for the president has recently come out. It's 927 pages, and I decided, great, we can get to the bottom of what the real story is, at least for...
What? Like, okay, that's...
2025.
I downloaded the report, but I didn't read it myself.
We don't have to go off anyone else's numbers. We can just look at the raw data, right? And so I went ahead and I pulled up a report of the president's assets. And, I started taking a look to see how much money was made in the crypto markets. And the answer that I came to, along with basically everyone else, like the Wall Street Journal, is it's about $1.4 billion. And in total, about $2.2 billion for the year of 2025 in total revenue, which is about a 3.5x increase from the prior year before entering the White House. Previously, they made about $622 million, and now they made $2.2 billion total. Now, you'll notice that most of that money is from crypto, about 63% actually, and that's odd because, as I said, crypto is down. It's a market that has lost a ton of value. You can see since 2025, it's gone from about 3.5 trillion or so to about $2 trillion, which is a giant loss. I mean, like, most people who invested in crypto over that time period have lost money. So how is it that the president has not, in fact, has made most of his revenue for the year from crypto when...
It's not... It's like, why is it so blatantly obvious? Like...
Everyone else
that's the bigger question.
Down.
Like,
and this is where I want to introduce you to this market right here. This is the Trump coin. It's the official meme coin of the president.
Down 80%.
Where we actually changed the SEC rules to, make some of this okay, by the way, some of the guidelines. And, you can see that
I'm probably going to link that
basically right around the inauguration and has been down only ever since, essentially. Now the coin is worth $1.71. So, you would think that if the president holds a bunch of these coins, he would have also lost money, at least on paper. Well, actually, you can check the financial disclosures and to see exactly how much money he has made in the form of royalties. You can see it's $635 million. So how does that make sense? He's making money while his fans, the people who are buying this,
strictly to
are down.
The crypto, though, or does that involve other things? Is the only question I would ask.
Massively. This is the strange thing about this financial disclosure. You really get the sense that the president has found a way to make a ton of money from a market that is down while he is up. It's like entirely bizarre. And, he was actually asked about this. Like, there's all these reports about you've profited from the presidency, etc. And the defense has always been like, well, I'm aligned with you. I'm making money, but you're also making money because the markets are going up.
Critics say you're profiting off the presidency.
Well, you know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting. If you have a 401k, how's your 401k done?
This is the cope we always see. Sure, the president's making a ton of money, but, everybody's making a ton of money. So his interests are ultimately aligned with ours, and, it makes sense. He's got some stocks, you've got some stocks, we're all going up together. But this is a totally different situation because, again, crypto is down.
This is like the entirety. This is saying, let's all be winners in this case, but to Coffee's point, like the discrepancy, and this is not per se a presidency, or this is just, or like multiple things that are just like fishy. This is just like one specific area and this is a span of a year, and you're like, okay, well, like, and then like the number's egregious. That's the biggest thing. The number is like completely egregious. Like, you could have at least tried to lose. Like, could have had it at 1.1 billion. You could have like tried to make it seem like you lost. It's just like, nope. It's right on the table.
Ask any of your friends who own crypto,
or he
especially
might
the
have
ones who own
lost
Trump
because
coin.
it could have been
They
higher than
are
this.
not doing well
Oh, wow.
right now. Okay, they are not having a good time. Our highest government official in the land is making billions of dollars in income. It's a very odd thing. It's like what you expect almost from Coinbase or like Kraken, people who make money from just the fees, because ultimately what they care about is trading volume. So they can still make money even in a down market, but pretty much everyone else is going to get screwed. Funny enough, someone actually looked at the financials of Coinbase and they found out that Trump out-earned the biggest listed crypto US firms in 2025, showing that he made about $1.4 billion and Coinbase made $1.26 billion. Now remember, this is a company that's sole job is to sell crypto, have you trade crypto. They have thousands of employees.
Wow, that's oh my god. Okay. I won't speak because Jesus Christ, that looks
And they
terrible.
made less, which I think is just the craziest statistic out of this whole thing.
That looks
Even though, it's probably not
bleeping
apples to apples,
bonkers.
right? There's a difference
Sure.
between, the earnings of a company versus a president's financial disclosure statement. I'll just say that.
But it
right
shouldn't
up
be
front.
that.
But it is
look
wild
like...
to think about. You've got a company whose sole job it is to sell
it
crypto,
shouldn't,
do all this kind of stuff.
It shouldn't look like that. Like, that's the point. Like, it's Coinbase and like having a higher number isn't the problem, but it's like it's higher than Coinbase, and I forgot the other two on this list. Where are we at? Clean Spark, Iron, BitDeer, Hot. That's pretty crazy. Granted, these are like, I haven't heard of these 5 or 6, and oh my god, Poor Hive and Hut 8, but that's absurd. I'm gonna be honest.
Did crypto US firms in 2025, showing that he asked, is this the new normal? Can we just expect that every president will have a down-only crypto coin that they made hundreds of millions of dollars
No.
from? Is that our new normal here in America? I certainly hope not, but you just can't get around the hard facts that are in this disclosure. Here's one of the other major ways, by the way, he made money, which is the selling of
future
World Liberty
presidencies
Financial tokens
will
and various
not
equity in
regulate.
that
I mean,
deal.
just
They
completely
made
just stomp
hundreds
this
of
out,
millions of
and
dollars
we
from that as well.
don't have to
And of
deal with
course,
this again.
don't forget the reporting that a big stake in World Liberty Financial was sold right before taking office. And it really feels like that's mostly the pattern here, is despite being, the crypto president, the guy who's going to take Bitcoin to the moon and safely guard your
How is
retirement
Bitcoin?
plan.
Let me check.
In actuality, when you see what the Trump organization actually does with most of these coins, they try to sell off pieces of their equity stake, somehow cash out
Bitcoin is at
for some real
63K,
value
which
instead of
is
holding
pretty
on
low
like the
for
true
what I expected.
believers. That isn't to say they don't still hold some of their stakes, but a lot of the profit here was because they sold out. And again,
Bingo.
a lot of these things are down bad, like really. So, I just wanted to talk about this weird phenomenon that really you usually see in scams, although I'm not making any such accusation, where somebody can be way up while investors are way down. And sometimes that's because somebody knows something. Sometimes it's because people are being, extracted from, people are being grifted on. I'm not going to make a determination of which one it is, ultimately, because there's really nothing we can do about it. Actually, recently there was an interview with some reporters who have been covering, the new changes in laws. And what they talk about is basically there's no ways to punish this stuff anyways. This is Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan from the New York Times.
Is there something illegal going on in your view?
It's an interesting question because Trump himself was granted sweeping immunity, as all presidents were, with the Supreme Court's immunity ruling in 2024. So Trump is essentially beyond the reach of the law in terms of actions. I mean, there's a sense among Trump and his allies and his inner circle, that with a very friendly Justice Department run by Trump's own former personal lawyer, with sweeping immunity from the Supreme Court, with an intention to use the pardon power more expansively, potentially than any president has ever used it, I don't think that they feel any real concern about illegality.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried either. I'm not holding my breath for, any of this, even on the periphery, to be punished. Honestly, I think what is just the most interesting about this new era is how blatant it all is, how it's all just out in the open in disclosures. Previously you might imagine people would hide something like this, right? Like they would be ashamed of it and therefore they wouldn't tell the world about it. But here you have it just proudly displayed in public filings. It wasn't being kept secret from the world. And so it really does feel like one of those things that's very in your face because, the people in power know there is nothing we can
That's
do.
disgusting, I'll be honest. That is pretty bad.
Relations between Europe and Turkey.
Ooh, I would watch this, but not today. That is pretty bad, no going to lie. But on that front,